I welcome all of you to this Do It Yourself program. So I'm very happy to be with you all. So this is my plan. So I start with plumbing, go on to LPG stove, and then LPG and LPG stove. And then I will be sharing some theory on LPG. And then finally I will go to electrical, how to change a switch, how to give connections, how to troubleshoot the water heater, bathroom water heater, instant water heater. And then how to troubleshoot the iron box. And then this is the plan for this 1.5 hours program. Now, see this is a drilling machine. This one is masonry drill. So I'm going to drill a hole in the wall which is behind me. So what do you need? You need this masonry drill, 6 mm. 6 mm masonry drill. And then this drilling machine. So this drilling machine is 500 watt. The power rating is 500 watt. Now, this costs you around 2,000 rupees. So in the olden days, we use jumpers to drill a hole onto the wall. It's a laborious job. So nowadays, a lot of tools are available. Suppose if you can't afford 2,000 rupees, you can hire this drilling machine. For per day, it costs you only 50 rupees. So there are a lot of shops who rent out these tools, cutting tools, drilling machines, welding machines. So you can hire a welding machine for just 100 rupees. They will also give you 5 welding rods. Now the welding machines have become very compact, only 2 to 3 kilograms weight. So about a year back, I hired one welding machine and repaired my gate. I didn't hire a welder. No, I hired one welding machine and did all the work myself. 100 rupees only. So they gave me 5 welding rods also. So you don't need to buy equipments. The idea is, you can do it yourself by hiring the equipments which you need. Okay. Now I'm going to mount this. So this is the pipe. This is 3/4 inch PVC. 3/4 inch pipe. This is elbow. Elbow. And then there is a thread here. 1/2 inch thread. This is a tap. The tap also has got 1/2 inch thread. So the tap will go into this. And then this will go here. And then I will mount it like this. So this is a hose fitting. So I can connect the hose here. So in front of me, there is one room, kitchen. So there is a tap there. So I can take a hose and then from the tap, I can give connection here. So this will be mounted onto the wall. So when I open this tap, water will come. How to do that? That's what I'm going to explain. How to do this. So first thing is this has to be mounted. This has to be mounted. This has to be mounted onto the wall. So for that, these clamps are used. These clamps. Only two clamps. See? One clamp here, one clamp. So I will have to fix these two clamps. For that, I need to open a 6 mm hole onto the wall. So I have opened one hole, 6 mm hole, and then one more hole. So I have opened two 6 mm holes onto the wall. Now, I'm using this plug. So this is called a plug. Can you see? Plug. So this will go into this hole. Now I have to use a hammer to drive the plug home. So I use the hammer. And then this clamp has to be mounted like this. This is a screw. This screw is 1 1/4. So the head, the positive Phillips screwdriver you'll have to use. Or you can use an adapter. And then you can use a drilling machine. So I'm going to fix this clamp onto the wall. How do I do that? Again, I'm going to use the drilling machine. So I'm going to remove this drill. So the drill is removed. And then this adapter is used. This adapter. So I have fixed the adapter onto the chuck. Now this is the clamp with the screw. The screw will be screwed down onto this plug. That's all. So the same way, one more clamp. So I have fixed two clamps on the wall. Now, this is the 3/4 inch PVC pipe. So the pipe, in front of me, there is a kitchen. There is a tap in the kitchen sink. So from the tap, I can use a hose. And then I need a hose adapter. So this is the hose adapter. So the 3/4 inch hose will get connected to one end. The other end has got 3/4 inch thread. So that will go into this component. This component name is threaded coupler. So one side thread is there. Other side, this. The other end will go into this pipe. Okay, I have to fix this threaded coupler onto this pipe. I will have to use solvent. So this is the solvent, PV Seal. The name of the solvent is PV Seal. It is manufactured by the M-Seal company. Many of you must have heard about M-Seal. So I open this. This is a brush. So what do I do? I apply the solvent. The solvent is applied. Here also the solvent is applied. And then what do? I allow to simply plug it. That's all. There won't be any leakage. That's all. So this is threaded coupler is fixed into the PVC pipe. Now this is hose adapter. It has one end, it has got thread. Other end, it has got provision to attach the garden hose, 3/4 inch garden hose. So this is a thread, male thread, female thread. So I will have to use thread sealant. This is thread sealant. So thread. This is called Teflon tape. So this seals the gap between the threads. So water will not leak. Okay. Now here I will have to use this threaded elbow. This is a 90-degree elbow. 90 degree. So this must go into this. And here I will have to use this has got 1/2 inch thread. So I will have to use a tap with 1/2 inch thread. So again I use solvent. See, I apply solvent. Okay. Now tap. The tap has to be connected here. So again, I will have to use thread sealant. Done. Now this has to be mounted onto the wall. Now already 2 clamps are there. So what I have to do, I will have to simply press it. That's all. Now if I connect the hose from the kitchen, water will come here. So if you really want to see water coming, We'll have to wait till the program gets over. And then I will show you water flowing through this tap. So in plumbing, so we have used a pipe, a 3/4 inch pipe. We have used a threaded coupler. We have used a hose adapter. We have used one elbow and then one tap. There are other components. So this component which I have in my hand is a T. So if you want to take 3 lines, one line is coming from this side, you want to take 2 lines. So you 2 lines to be branched out. So you can use a T. This is a T. So this is the cap. Suppose if you want to close one end. So I want to close this. I can use a cap or I can use a plug. So a plug has got male thread, a cap has got female thread. Okay. You can use either a cap or a plug. Supposing, so you want to connect a 1 inch pipe and a 3/4 inch pipe. So an ordinary coupler will not do. So you need to use a reducer. So this is a reducer. So this reducer connects a 2 inch pipe and a 1.5 inch pipe. This connects a 1 inch and a 1.5 inch pipe. So this is a reducer. So this one is a foot valve. So this is a non-return valve. So if you use a pump in your house, you have a well or a bore well, the foot valve will be at the bottom of the suction pipe. The function of the foot valve is to allow water from the well to flow to the pump and to the tank. But the reverse flow will be prevented. The water will not flow from the tank to the well. So it prevents, foot valve prevents. So actually it is a non-return valve. It allows flow in one direction, prevents flow in other direction. So this is about simple plumbing. I have not shown you one thing. This is a AXA, a miniature AXA. This can be used to cut pipes. I can cut this pipe very easily. To whatever length I want, I can cut it. And then this is a file. This is a file. After cutting, I can remove sharp corners. Before I apply the solvent to fix other components, the sharp corners have to be removed. This is a file. So all these items will not cost you much. The AXA with the blade will cost you only 50 rupees. The file maybe cost you 60 rupees. So you can buy all these items and then do all small repair at home yourself. See, some of you might be knowing engineering drawing, I think. So if you know engineering drawing, you can use isometric drawing and then draw the piping diagram. You see, we have given one connection, the drawing will be like this. So this is hose adapter, and then this is reducer. And then this pipeline, this is L. This is stub. This is the drawing. If you have to draw it in isometry also, you can draw. This is an isometry. So you can exactly find out the components needed for the job. Okay, so we will go on to the next topic. The next topic is LPG. See, I have got this tube. So this supply tube has been removed from the 2-burner LPG stove. This is a 2-burner LPG stove. So I have removed this supply pipe from this 2-burner LPG stove. So here the knobs will be there, control knobs. The burners will come here. So I have removed this just to demonstrate the principle behind the LPG burner. You know, for the fuel to burn, we need 2 more things. We need air, we need heat. So 3 things are needed to generate fire. The first one is fuel. We need fuel. The second one is we need air. The oxygen is needed. No, the carbon and the hydrogen in the fuel will combine with oxygen in the air and produce an exothermic reaction. The exothermic reaction generates a lot of heat. So that is called combustion. So what is combustion? Combustion is burning of fuel with air. So here the green tube, LPG is coming. Actually, there is a regulator. So I have got the cylinder down. It has got a regulator. So the regulator regulates the pressure. It's a pressure regulator. You see, the LPG, what is LPG? Liquefied petroleum gas. So it is a mixture of 2 gases, propane and butane. Actually, the butane percentage will be more. Propane percentage will be very less. So it burns when ignited. The fuel burns when ignited. The fuel needs air. So the fuel which is inside the cylinder is at a pressure which depends on the atmospheric air. The atmospheric temperature is 30 degrees Celsius. The pressure will be around 3 to 4 bar. So 3 to 4 bar is the pressure at which the car tires are inflated. Actually, it is slightly 2 to 2.5 bar pressure, car tires. I think the bike tires also of the same pressure. So the pressure inside the LPG cylinder is 3 to 4 bar, higher than the pressure inside the car tire. So that pressure is a high pressure. We cannot use it for our home LPG stove. So that pressure has to be reduced. So if you see the regulator, if you see the regulator, the one thing will be written on the regulator. You go and see now after this program. 300 WC, that is written. So what is 300 WC? 300 mm WC. So the pressure after the regulator. So inside the cylinder, it is 3 to 4 bar. After the regulator, it is only 300 mm water, very less pressure. So we need less pressure for our LPG stove. So the regulator regulates the pressure from 3 to 4 bar to the 300 millimeter water gauge pressure. Okay. Now, this is the burner. So I keep the burner here. This is the burner. Okay. So this is the, I have taken everything out. See? Can you see? This is the control knob. This is a control. This is a burner. So I'm going to burn now. Burn the LPG. So this is the components which are inside the LPG stove. So you must have seen this connection from the regulator. So this comes from the regulator. The pressure is very less, 300 millimeter water. So what is 300 millimeter water? That I want to know. See, I will tell you what is 300 millimeter water. So many of you must have studied manometers in school days or in colleges. So a manometer measures the pressure. If the manometric liquid is water, the pressure is given in millimeter of water. If the manometric liquid is mercury, the pressure is measured in millimeter of mercury. You must all be knowing the atmospheric pressure. The atmospheric pressure is, you must have studied, 760 millimeter mercury. So atmospheric pressure supports a mercury column of 760 millimeter high. This pressure, the pressure of the LPG coming out of the regulator is only 300 millimeter mercury. So I will show you. So this is the water, colored water. So I put this. So this is the jet. So you must have seen the jet in the control valve. This is a jet. So I have removed the burner for present, and then I am going to attach this tube. So the tube is attached. Now, so can you see this? Yeah. Now, if I switch on the gas, the water, see, this is the left limb, right limb manometer. So the gas pressure will push the water in the left limb, and the water in the right limb will rise. The difference between the water in the right limb and the water in the left limb will be 300 millimeter. That is what is written on the regulator top. 300 millimeter WC water column. Let us see now. I have switched on the regulator. Now I am going to switch on this control knob. And then you are going to see. See? Can you see? This is difference. See the difference? Roughly it is 300 mm. Now you close the valve, control valve, and remove it. Now I am going to burn the LPG. See, I am going to explain one principle now. So this is the burner. So likewise, one more burner will be here. Now, so this is the lighter. Can you see the flame? Lighter. Again, it's an LPG lighter. So the gas inside is LPG. You see? Now I close this. The sufficient air is not there. You see yellow flame. I open. Actually, through this hole, air flows in. So a lot of people are wondering why this hole here. This hole is given for the air to get in. So that is called the primary air. And air also flows from inside this. That is secondary air. Primary air and secondary air. If I close this, you see yellow flame. Why yellow flame? Because of insufficient air. So primary air is not there. Now blue flame. Flame is not visible. You close this, yellow flame. Now, you must have studied in school Bernoulli's theorem. That Bernoulli's theorem is being applied here in this burner. So primary air gets in. So the nozzle is here. Nozzle. So through that nozzle, the LPG leaves at a high velocity. So when the velocity is more, pressure is less. There is a pressure drop because of the increase in velocity. So since there is a pressure drop here, atmospheric air enters in. That is called primary air. And then secondary air enters like this. So we need both primary and secondary air for complete combustion. So I have one demonstration. So I have one strip of paper. See what I do. So I blow air only here, but the strip lifts. Why does it do so? Because when I blow air, the velocity of air is more here. Since the velocity is more, there is a corresponding decrease in pressure. So at this area, there is a drop in pressure. So atmospheric pressure lifts the strip. Again, I do it. This is the principle. So this is the hole. So jet is here. As LPG comes through the jet, its velocity increases. So there is a drop in pressure. Because of that, atmospheric air enters in through the hole in the burner. So that is called primary air. So this equipment is called lighter, cigarette lighter. So this is available for 10 rupees. So what is inside the lighter? Butane gas, pure butane. So what's the pressure? Around 3 to 4 bar. The pressure depends on temperature. At atmospheric pressure of 30 degrees Celsius, the pressure is 3 to 4 bar, around 3 to 4 bar. So if the temperature increases, what happens? Pressure will build up. So if I put this lighter in hot water, boiling water, what will happen to the lighter? The lighter will explode like a bomb. You can buy a lighter and do the experiment yourself. So you just put the lighter onto the boiling water. And after a few minutes, heat transfer will take place. The LPG will heat it up. Pressure will build. The container will not withstand the pressure. The lighter will simply explode. It's a very good experiment you can do at home. 10 rupees only. You will lose only 10 rupees. And then I have I have one more commonly available LPG device. This is a butane gas cylinder. So it costs only 88 rupees. So butane gas is there. This is a butane torch. So this is 88 rupees. This will be around 100 to 200 rupees, 150 rupees. See, you can buy this and keep it at home. Okay. Now, so I showed that LPG cylinder, you know. So this is a cap nut. Supposing you use a spanner to unscrew the cap nut, it is not coming off. So one way to unscrew this is heat it and you can unscrew, then it will come off. So adamant nuts and bolts, now you can heat them and then you can unscrew them. So for that you can use this blower. So this blower will cost you only, this is 88 rupees, this is 150 rupees. So you can keep it at home for a lot of work. See? I switched off the fan. Can you see the flame? Can remove it. This is the butane gas. So this control knob is automatic stove. So there are some automatic stoves. You don't need to light the flame. You don't need to ignite the gas. Automatically it gets ignited. See, as you rotate this, you hear a click sound, and then there is a spark coming here. So this is automatic gas stove. Regulator used for automatic gas stove. Okay, now we are through with LPG cylinder. Okay, now I'm going to use a multimeter. See, this is a multimeter. Now, if you want to do any electrical work, you must need a multimeter. So why it is called a multimeter? So multi means many. So you can measure voltage. We can measure AC voltage. This is AC voltage. So 750, 200. So if you want to measure the supply voltage, you will have to use the rotary knob at 750. So this is off condition. The knob is in off condition. This is DC voltage. 1220, 2000 millivolts, 200 millivolts. This is resistances. So in electricity, there are three important quantities. One is called voltage. The other one is called current. The third one is resistance. So you can measure the current. DC current you can measure. You cannot measure AC current in this multimeter. To measure AC current, you need tong meter. So this will be slightly, the tong meter will be slightly costlier. So I will show you the tong meter. This is the tong meter. This is the tong meter. Tong meter. So tong meter will be around 900 rupees. So actually you don't need to measure AC current for our application. Now we will see how to use this, multimeter to measure the voltage. So in your house, one electrical, gadget is not working. Say for example, the tube light, no, it doesn't come on. You switch, you activate the switch, the tube light does not come on. So you must check the voltage. So if the incoming voltage is very less, the tube light may not come on. So the problem with the supply or with the gadget, you must find out. So how to find out the supply, how to find out the voltage using this multimeter. So these two are called probes. This is a probe. So one is red, the other one is black. So you'll have to insert the red probe into V ohms milliamps, that slot, this slot. And then this black probe into a slot named as COM, COM. So now now the multimeter is ready for use. Okay. Now I remove this, and then I will show you how to use a multimeter for measuring the supply voltage. This is the AC adapter. This is a multimeter. So this comes from the wall socket. So I have used this adapter. So it has got four what do you call sockets? 4 sockets. 5 amp socket. This adapter can withstand only up to 6 amps. So each adapter, each socket has got individual switch control. So I switch on this, and then I want to find out the supply voltage. So I'll have to set this rotary. This is called rotary switch. The rotary switch should be set at 750 volts. This is AC, 750 volts AC. This position. This is a rotary switch. Now the multimeter is set to measure the AC voltage. Up to 750 voltage you can measure. The supply voltage, as you all know, it is only 230 volts roughly. So I am going to find out what is the incoming voltage. So what do you see? 246. So the supply voltage is 246. Very good. So in our area, we don't have this voltage problem. So usually it is between 230 and 240. So the supply voltage is 246. So the problem is not with the supply voltage. Because you can conclude, if you have a multimeter, you can conclude that the problem is not, say, troubleshooting is elimination. So you eliminate that. What do you eliminate? Supply voltage. There is no problem. So you eliminate that. And then you look for problem in your gadget. You are sure that the problem is not with the supply. Now, the multimeter can also be used to measure the continuity. So what is continuity? See, these two probes, they are separate now. Now, there is one, this is called continuity test. See? This is continuity test. Can you see? One sound symbol is shown, continuity test. So I have put it in the continuity test. So the voltmeter is in continuity test mode now. Now, if I touch these two probes, what will happen? Can you hear a sound? Okay. Now it is high resistance. One is high resistance. One is shown. Now I touch this. So there is continuity. Almost zero. There is continuity. Now you can use this to say test the, say for example, test the lamp. So I have this lamp with me. So this is a lamp. It's a filament lamp. So whether there is continuity in the filament or not, I want to check. So it is, the multimeter is in the continuity check mode. Now I keep this like this, and then I see the continuity test. So one probe, black probe, one wire. This is another one. See, 72 ohms. So the resistance of the filament is 72 ohms, 75 ohms. So continuity is there. So if I give supply, the lamp will be on. Want to see? So I can give supply. So I switch it off. See, the lamp is on. Continuity is there. The lamp is okay. You can visibly check, but sometimes it may not be visible. So you can use a multimeter. So if your mixie has got problem, you can use the multimeter, whether mixie is okay, continuity is there or not. So you can use this continuity test to check the heating element. So I have got the iron box. This iron box. So I want to know whether the element is okay or not. So first I check the element. So the continuity test. So the element is here. So I allow to identify which is the element. So as far as the iron box is concerned, there are only three major components. One is the element. The other one is this is the thermostat. The third one is the indicator lamp. This is the indicator lamp. So what can go wrong? The indicator lamp may go wrong. The element may fail. The thermostat may go wrong. You want to know which one has gone wrong. So you can use your multimeter to find out which one has gone wrong. So you operate the thermostat fully, turn it fully on. It is fully on. Now, element. So can you see? 40 ohms. So the element continuity is that. It is showing resistance, 39 ohms. So what does it mean? The element is okay. No problem. So if I switch it on, the light should come on now. See? Can you see the light on? So actually, if you see here, there is a resistance. There is a small resistance shown here. So why do you use a resistance for this lamp? The lamp is not 230 volts. The lamp may be 6 volt. So what you need to do is you need to drop the voltage. So we are using a 230 volts lamp to light this 230 volt supply to light this lamp. So you need to drop no 230 minus voltage. So that is 224 voltage has to be dropped in a resistor. So the resistor is used in series with the indicator lamp. The indicator lamp is a 6 volt lamp. So they use a resistor. Sometimes the resistor would have been burnt. The lamp would not come on. So you'll have to change the resistor. Resistor will cost you only 1 rupee. Just for the sake of a component which is only 1 rupee, costing only 1 rupee, you are throwing a device which costs you 1000 rupees. So this is a Philips iron. It's a steam iron. The cost is 1100 rupees. Just because 1 rupee, most of the people, they throw away the costly 1100 rupees worth of steam iron. Actually, I bought this, you won't believe. I bought this steam iron from a second-hand shop. Just for 50 rupees, I bought this. It is working. There was some problem with the thermostat. So what is a thermostat? Thermostat is a temperature switch. So when the temperature of this iron reaches a particular value, it cuts off the supply. It sees that it does not reach beyond that set temperature. So you set the temperature for different types of clothes. For cotton, wool, terrycotton, like that. So this is adjustable. So only 3 components. Only 3 components. The filament, the heating element, the indicator lamp, and thermostat. Okay, now then I'm going to discuss the heater, bathroom heater, and the switch, how to replace a defective switch. Now heater, I'll tell you something on here and then I will go back to the table. Now heaters, there are 2 types of heaters. Instant heaters and storage heaters. So I have brought one instant heater with me now. I will dismantle it and show all the parts. But there are not much parts in the heater. The circuit also is very simple. So if you can read, the very simple circuit it is. If you can read a circuit, you can easily troubleshoot any electrical device. The circuit is important. The manufacturers supply you with a manual. If you buy a heater, they will also give you a manual. In the manual, they give all the information about the heater, the installation procedure, the operating procedure, and then the safety precautions, and then the circuit diagram, the warranty, all that they give, the parts detail. So they also, as I told you, they give the circuit diagram. So in a heater, there are very few components. Like in iron box, there is a heating element. So if it is an instant heater, the heating element is rated as 3 kilowatt. So you have a 3 kilowatt heating element. And then you have 2 thermostats. 2 thermostats. Why 2 thermostats? Suppose if one fails, Other will at least work. Safety. For safety reason, they have two thermostat. In iron box, there is only one thermostat. But in a heater, there are a lot of safety issues are involved. The manufacturers, all the manufacturers give two thermostats. There are two thermostats. And then again in iron box, indication lamps. So as you switch on the power supply, the red light will come on. The green light will also come on. What does it mean? The power is on. The heater is heating. The water is getting heated up. So once the desired temperature is reached, the green light goes off. The red light remains on. What does it mean? The green light goes off. The supply to the heater is cut off. Heating coil element is cut off. Then, but the supply is on. Once the temperature falls, again automatically the heater will come on. That's what it means. So there are two lights: red indicator lamp, green indicator lamp. So these are the only components. So you will be surprised. So I repeat, there is one element, heating element. There is one. There are two thermostats. There are two indicator lamps. Now I will draw the circuit diagram on the board, and then I will go back to the table, and then I will dismantle the heater. And then you will be surprised. Anybody can troubleshoot. See, a heater, an instant heater, will cost you between 3,000 rupees to 6,000 rupees, depending on the make. The storage heater will be costing you from 5,000 to 8,000 rupees. But the heating element will cost you only 500 rupees. Thermostat will cost you only 100 rupees. So because of the thermostat, the heater will not be working. So a lot of such heaters come to the Kailangadai, the second-hand shop, just because only one component has become wrong, gone bad. So that component can be replaced. That thermostat can be replaced. Heater element can be replaced. Only 500 rupees. You spend only 500 rupees. You save 3,000 rupees. So the circuit diagram, you must know the circuit diagram. I'll draw the circuit diagram on the board and then we will dismantle. This is a line. This is a neutral. This is a earth. 3 wires. So now it's a 3-pin top. So we use a 3-pin top for heater. 3 pins. One pin is line phase. Another one is neutral. The third one is earth. So the earth has to be earthed. Proper earth must be there in your house. The socket has to be properly earthed. This is the house socket. And then here comes the element. This is the element. And then the body is earthed. Body is earthed. They're connected to this. That's what I mean. This and that are connected. And then an indicator lamp. There are two thermostats. This is simple. The thermostat 1, thermostat 2. So this is the thermostat. I told you, two thermostats. I already dismantled one heater. I have brought two heaters. So these are the thermostats. So it will cost you only 100 rupees only. So there is a temperature setting. Can you see? Temperature setting. This is a coil, heating element. And there are two what? Two indicator lamp. Green. Red. So this is a circuit. Very simple circuit. See, the two thermostats are connected in series with the heating element. So they are connected in series. If any of the two thermostats open, then the power will be cut off to the supply will be cut off to the heating element. When both the thermostats are not actuated, so normally they are closed. So when the temperature reaches the set value, they open. So normally this opens at 60 degrees C, this opens at 90 degrees C. So when the temperature inside your heater reaches 60 degrees centigrade, this gets opened and the supply is cut off. Green light goes off. Red light is on. As soon as supply is given, red light comes on. So when this thermostat also cut off, red light also goes off. So this thermostat cannot be adjusted. You cannot adjust this thermostat. It is set at 90 degrees centigrade, factory setting. This can be adjusted. So normally in heaters, they give a knob. There is a knob outside. You can adjust the temperature setting. If you want a slightly higher temperature, you can adjust this and then the temperature will go up to 70 degrees Celsius. If you do not want 60 degrees Celsius, you can reduce the temperature. There is a knob given with temperature markings. So this is a circuit. Now, this is actually this is one is inlet. This is inlet. This is outlet. Inlet, outlet. So here the vessel will come. The vessel will be closed. So water flows inside. Water is fully here, and then the water will get heated up. And then when you use that tap, which is connected to the outlet tube, hot water will come out. So we can check whether this heating element is okay or not okay. Now I'll go to that table and then I will show you how to check the heating element, whether it is okay or not okay. So this is the heating element. Actually, it is fixed on this plate. So you'll have to remove this. You'll have to remove this nut and then you can take out the heating element. This is the heating element. These are all heater parts. Heating element is separate. This can be removed. This is only 500 rupees. I want to check whether the heating element is okay or not okay. So these are the terminals. So how do I do it? I use a multimeter. Say I'll have to set the multimeter rotary. This is rotary switch. This is the rotary switch of the multimeter. The rotary switch has to be set in the continuity mode. The meter is set in the continuity mode, continuity test. You can do continuity test now. Now these are the two probes. Now I touch this. See the multimeter now. So 23 ohm. The continuity is there. Continuity is there, and then it is showing correct ohm, 23 ohms. Now, we can find out the current flowing through the element when supply 230 volts is given, this particular element. Now I go to the board and then do some simple calculation. The reason for doing simple calculation is you need to choose the correct MCB. What is MCB? MCB is a miniature circuit breaker. So you must use a circuit breaker for the heater. The reason is, say that when there is a short circuit, what is a short circuit? Current flows not through the required part. In addition to the required part, it also flows some other path, unwanted path. That is short circuit. That is the heating element, the exposed part of the heating element may contact the body of the heater. So when that happens, current flows through the body, not it flows through the coil, it also flows through the body. Large current will flow. So it will exceed the rating of the heater, and then the MCB will trip, safeguarding the heater as well as safeguarding the people who use the heater. So what MCB you should use? So that we will see now. So it is always better to use a MCB or ELCB, earth leak circuit breaker. ELCB is slightly costlier. At least you must use a MCB whenever you use a heater in your bathroom. So I will go to the board and do some simple calculations to find out the rated MCB for this application. Please remember the resistance is 23 ohms. So this is a circuit. Already we have seen that. The heating element, thermostat, they are connected in series. So if any of these two thermostats open, the supply to the heating element will be cut off and heating will not take place. So if both the thermostats are closed, the water will be heated and both the indicator lamps will be on. Both the red and the green will be on, showing that the supply is on to the element and the water is getting heated up. Now, so I measured the resistance of this heating element and found that to be 23 ohms. The resistance supply voltage is 230. So approximately 230, more or less, plus or minus, 10 or 15. So let us take this as 230 volts. Now it is a resistive load. It is not an inductive load, it is a resistive load. So you can apply Ohm's law. What does Ohm's law say? The voltage across the resistor is directly proportional to the current flowing through it. V is equal to IR. Voltage, current, resistance. So what is this voltage? 230. What is current? We do not know. What is resistance? 23 ohms. So I is equal to 230 by 23, 10 amps. So when you use the heater, when the heater is on, how much current is flowing? But in this particular case, in this particular heater element, 10 amps of current will be flowing. So which MCB you should use? So you will have to use, you cannot use 10 amps. You may use 16 amps. There is 6 amps MCB available. I think 10 amps is also available. After that, 16 amps. So MCB, 16 amps MCB you will have to use. So the MCB, a single pole MCB you can use. So what you have to do is you will have to connect the MCB in series with the element. The current flowing through the element will also flow through the MCB. So when the current flows is more than 6, what is the actual current? Normal current is 10 amps. So only 10 amps current is flowing. So if there is the filament, there is a short circuit. This is called short circuit. The filament is touching the body of the heater, metal body. So there is some current flowing through the body, Depending upon the contact, the type of contact established, current flow also will be more or less. Sometimes more current, heavy current will flow, depending upon how it is contacting the body. So current flow may increase to 20 amps because of this short circuit. So what happens? You are connecting this ELCB. So ELCB, NC contact. So overload, NC contact. So what happens? This will 20 amps, it will not allow 20 amps. 16 amps only. If it is more than 60 amps, the coil will get heated up and then the bimetallic strip will move and then the contacts will be broken. So now you come and see. You switch on. The heater is not heating up. Thermostat, the MCB is off. Again, you switch it on. Again, it goes off. So you know there is some problem. So you can rectify that problem. Okay, now I take another 5 minutes and then I will show you how easy it is to change switches. So this is the last one. So I will show you how it is easy to change the switches. So I'm going to fix this switch. It's a modular switches. So it is slightly costly, but in almost all the houses, they use now modular switches. So it can be easily fixed and easily removed. So I'll fix this switch. See how easy it is to fix this switch. So you'll have to keep it like this. Press, that's all. Keep it and press. So how many switches are there? 2 switches are there. And then 2 sockets, 5 amp sockets are there. 2 switches and 2 5 amp sockets. So how do you remove it? So you'll have to use a tester and press it. The switch will come off. So you can replace it. So how do you give connection? See, there are 3 terminals. 2 terminals in the switches, 3 terminals. 3 terminals in the socket. So So you have to use 3 wires. So normally for phase you use a red wire. For earth you use a green wire. For neutral you can use a black wire. So these are the wires. So 3 colors wires. So this is the top. So you'll have to open the top and then red wire. Normally they write it here. Phase neutral. This is neutral. This is phase. Phase neutral. So red wire has to be connected here. Black wire has to be connected here. Green wire has to be connected. So actually this is an extension box. So you use an extension, your computer is somewhere. So you want to charge your mobile, the switchboard is somewhere else. So you yourself can make it ready. So if you go to the electrical shop and if you show your requirement, they will give you. So you may ask them, I want 5 amp socket. I want 5 amp switches to control the socket. So they will give you this board. And they will also give you this. But this can be mounted on the wall. This can be mounted on the wall. This will go into the wall. So they give you the screws also to mount this. I showed you the drilling machine, you drill 2 holes on the wall and then use a plug and then screws, and then this will be properly mounted on the wall. And then this you buy. This and this plate, these 4 switches, 2 sockets and 2. This can be readily purchased. You tell your requirement, they will give you. Now you have to give connection properly. So for this socket, one is line, another one is phase. Sorry, neutral. Phase neutral. This is earth. So phase has to be controlled through the switch. So the red wire should go to the switch. And then from here it must go to the phase. And then the green wire, straight away you can connect this to this green wire. The neutral has to be connected here. That's all. Very simple. Very, very simple. You don't need to worry at all. See, if you want, I will show you the connection. See, this is the wire stripper. So I strip this wire off. Now I connect this to switch. And then from here, so from here I will have to connect this to the phase. Phase. That is phase. Phase. The phase is routed through the switch. The phase wire is routed through the switch. That's all. Phase is controlled through the switch. And then the neutral, the black wire is a neutral wire. Neutral wire is connected to the neutral. And then the earth, green wire has to be connected here. That's all. So this is the connection. That's all. So you have not connected this, same way you can connect this. So you'll have to use a wire, loop wire. Connect it like this. So very easy. The defective switches can also easily be changed. So I'm very happy. Some of you, have stayed with me so long. So it shows that you are interested. I'm happy that I have kindled that interest in you. So do it yourself is the passion. Do it yourself is saving money. Do it yourself is satisfaction. Do it yourself means we do it fast. We don't wait for someone to come and fix it. We fix it ourselves. So I'm happy that I have kindled that interest in you. Please continue to learn. Continue to buy some simple components like screwdriver, tester, multimeter, a hammer, a drilling machine, and things like that. It's invest some money and then start doing it. So you will acquire skills. As you progress, you will also acquire skills. There are a lot of good videos available on YouTube. There are a lot of good stuff available on internet. So I'm very happy. Continue to learn. Do not give up. Thank you very much.